In Dragon Ball Sagas, the main goal and really the only thing you're able to do was play through the level-based story missions, following the story of Dragon Ball Z from the start of Raditz through the end until Cell Saga, which for some reason at the time was a common thing for game developers to do, to leave out the Cell Saga. For example, Budokai 1. For an unsure reason, but for reasons that I believe to be for either money or for as a test run to see if the community even liked the game. However, Dragon Ball Z Sagas came out around year 2005, so the Dragon Ball community has already gotten used to and familiar with the likes of Dragon Ball Budokai 1, 2, and 3. So that being said, everyone looked at this with high expectations. Could Sagas live up to the storytelling of Budokai 1? Could Sagas live up to the creativity of Budokai 2? And can it have an amazing depiction of the Dragon Ball world just like Budokai 3? Well, today we're going to find out. First thing you're going to notice is Dragon Ball Z Sagas has a nice menu, beautiful intro. That intro that you guys heard during the montage is the menu music. And by far, one thing that this game does phenomenally well in almost every single section of the game is its soundtrack. A 10 out of 10 when it comes down to soundtrack, because I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in North America, in Canada, watching Dragon Ball, and I got into Deftones, got into multiple metal music bands because of Dragon Ball Z. And truth be told, there's a lot of homage to the North American sound of Dragon Ball Z in this game, and you guys will know what I'm talking about when I say that. There's a couple of options on the menu screen that you guys are going to see right when we get into the game. Play Sagas, Tutorial, Pendulum, which is grayed out as of for now because we can't play that. I'm not even going to call it a game mode because it's just replaying the Sagas with other characters. And we'll go into that more into the end of the game because the Pendulum really has nothing to do with the experience of the game. If you're going to experience this game for the first time, there's nothing you can do but the tutorial and the play Sagas. We're going to skip the tutorial for now just because I've played this game as a child multiple times, so it doesn't make sense for me to do it. So we're going to jump in right into the play Sagas. I'm going to just check on the options. Options are very simple. Difficulty options are there. And you can even turn friendly fire on in two-player mode, which I think is quite hilarious and adds a little bit of fun to it. So I have to give the game a little bit of a plus on that. They did think about things that could make the game fun without, completely making you new whole game mode or anything like that.
Years ago, a child of the monstrous Saiyan race was sent across the galaxy to Earth on a mission of destruction. However, his Saiyan programming was erased when he fell from a high cliff into the greatest adventure of all time. That boy was Goku, and armed with his otherworldly Saiyan powers, he embarked on a quest for the 7 magic Dragon Balls, one that pitted him against the strongest fighters on the globe. Goku Goku honed his skills under the watchful eye of the legendary Master Roshi. But when his strength quickly surpassed that of his teacher, he set out into the world, not as its destroyer, as the Saiyans intended, but as its greatest defender. Goku traveled far and wide, battling the evil forces that sought to take control of the Dragon Balls for their own selfish desires. With the power of right on his side, he defeated the notorious Red Ribbon Army. And when the Demon King Piccolo rose from the shadows, bent on world domination, Goku was once again there to save the day. Now a new threat has emerged, and Goku stands ready to meet the challenge. The evil Saiyan Raditz has come to Earth and kidnapped Goku's son, thus setting in motion a chain of events that will take Goku far beyond the world he has sworn to protect, and force him to test his might against the most powerful villains the universe has ever known. Will Goku prevail against these deadly foes? It's all up to you as the adventure continues.
So for the first mission, we're going to jump right in. We got to clear the path for Raditz, collect 4 Z coins, and save our son. Okay, so immediately off the bat, you're going to notice that there's a coin in front of us and a red capsule in front of us. So these are some of the collectibles that we are able to collect in this game. This and alongside with a yellow capsule as well. The red capsules, you collect 10 of them and increases your max HP. Pretty simple. The yellow ones, you collect 10 of them and they increase your max key. And the Z coins are very, very important because we use them to upgrade ourselves and use it as our main form of character progression throughout the story. So the cool thing about this game is that one thing that you unlock on one character is going to get unlocked for the next character. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm a different person in the next mission, I have to unlock all the same things. No, once you've unlocked it, it unlocks it for all the missions. But you're going to notice that immediately we see Cybermen. And you might think, why is there Cybermen? There's no Cybermen at all at the start of Z. We don't get Cybermen, in fact, until the introduction of Nappa. And you'd be right. But I can't say that, it doesn't make sense. I think the game needed something to pad this level out, especially for a beat 'em up. And I think Cybermen was the perfect way to do it. There's no explanation in this game, and unfortunately, when it comes down to this game, it does want you to have some prior knowledge on what these things are. And if you do, well, then you know that they don't appear here, and that's the unfortunate part. Another thing at the start of here you're going to notice me do is infinite combo these guys out my ass. If you hold a specific any direction while pressing a combo and then canceling the combo with the start of another combo, you can just infinitely combo a Cyberman. And you'll see me utilize that a lot in the early game, because when you don't have a lot of upgrades, the game is significantly harder. You're also going to see in this first mission a red Cyberman, specifically standing on areas that you can't get up to. You might think that you can jump and fly up to, however you can't. So the only way you can really take these guys out is with just a key blast, and they die with one single hit, which is hilarious enough. So if you ever see these red Cybermen, throw a key blast at them, and they just insta-die. And it's perfectly fine. You're going to see me do that a lot as well. At the beginning of this mission, you see me throwing a lot of key blasts, and it's not very optimal at all. I'm getting back into the game, and I have no idea what's happening. You're going to see me walk back and forth a lot as well, because the way this game works is it hides those Z coins and red and yellow capsules in high to reach areas where you can't particularly get from. So you have to go find a high altitude area that might be way later in the mission, jump up as high as you can, and then fly all the way back to get those collectibles. However, I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that they maybe should have had a lot more high altitude areas in maybe places where you couldn't see, so it would have rewarded exploration and stuff like that. But it's something that they unfortunately didn't execute very well. Now, another thing in this mission that you are expected to do is to unlock your super move. So you're playing as Goku, you unlock your Kamehameha, and if you're playing with two people, you would your second player who is playing Piccolo would unlock Special Beam Cannon. And the way you are able to use these moves is by holding the key button down, and it'll slow time down, slow everyone down, and you start charging your super move. And it's a very, very interesting way in terms of progression, especially in this mission, I thought, because the only way you could get forward through these big rocks is if you unlock the key blast and get through it. Now, I think it would have been a great nod and a way of progression if they continued this without maybe telling you. But there's no mission after this that requires you to get a upgrade to progress. And I unfortunately think that's a bad thing. Some people may think that's a good thing that you don't have to get specific upgrades to progress, but I think that it encourages getting specific things and the player trying new things out. But that's as far as this mission goes. You scour the mission, or you scour the lands, you break as much breakable stuff as you can to see if you can find the max HP collectibles, the max key collectibles, and the Z coins. You'll also find two, but I don't think there was any in this mission, sensu beans. And sensu beans are used to completely revive you after a fight. But given that this game is quite trivial, it's not really needed. We make our way back to Raditz and we fight him. You're gonna see this whole fight is literally me just infinite comboing him, and that's it, because there is nothing to really do from essentially that and Kamehamehaing. When we get more Z points along the way, given this is only the first mission, we will unlock more things to do, like teleport, combos, and just more things to, make the game feel a little bit better. But as of now, the game unfortunately does feel really bad.
The Mighty Nappa. In Otherworld, Goku embarks on a quest to reach the legendary martial arts master King Kai, hoping to receive training that will aid him in the coming battle against the Saiyans. Meanwhile, Piccolo labors to teach Gohan the art of fighting with a severe training regimen designed to unlock the youngster's hidden potential. And after 1 year, just as Raditz predicted, the evil Saiyans, Vegeta, and Nappa arrive on Earth. With an army of mindless Cybermen at their disposal, they quickly draw the battle lines for the inevitable showdown against the Z Warriors.
So, it's funny that we see in this cutscene that Cybermen get created. So in this mission, the Mighty Nappa, you play as Goku. And if you were playing with the second player, player 2 would also play as Piccolo, same as mission 1. Gohan's special move is the Misenko, and it's really awesome. When you use it, he'll scream out, Misenko, ha! And same thing with Piccolo, if you use their specials, they'll scream out what they are screaming. New enemy type found in this level is the blue guys, big blue guys. They are quite easy, but quite hard, but if you just spam the Misenko at them from up high, they genuinely can't do anything. So that's what we did. And now you see me having to get some altitude here later to get these Z coins. right? And this is a common thing that this game does with its level design. And I think that's an amazing thing to do because it makes you have to be very thorough with your height, right? Because if you can't see what's above you, you can later, you got to go back and see if there was anything above you you didn't miss. However, there's ways to have to get away from that later. In this mission, we also collect all 7 Dragon Balls. And you guys might already know, Gohan and Piccolo don't do that. They just go and fight the Saiyans. Bulma and Roshi collect the Dragon Balls and wish Goku back to life. So it's a little silly that happens. But really, again, what are they going to have you do in this mission? Just get to the end and fight Nappa? They had to make you do something like collect those 4 Z coins in the first mission, right? So they made you get the Dragon Balls because it was something to do with the story and they could squeeze it in. One big thing that this game does, I think, quite exceptionally well, is the list of upgrades that you have in the team upgrades tab at the Z shop. So right off the bat, on key attack, you got special move, quick recovery, teleport, flight speed, turbo, key charge, and key sense. When it comes to the game, these key attacks are all necessary. Quick recovery because I don't want to get comboed, right? And flight speed because I just want to get through the levels. So we take those upgrades and we go straight into Nappa. Nappa's an easy fight, genuinely. There's not much to it. Just beat his ass, infinite combo style.
As the fight takes a deadly turn, Piccolo dives in front of Nappa's attack, giving his own life to save Gohan. As Gohan bids a final farewell to his friend and mentor, his father Goku returns from Otherworld and races to the battlefield to put an end to the carnage once and for all. Saiyan's Duel. Wished back to life by the power of the Dragon Balls, Goku arrives on the battlefield determined to stop the Saiyans. And after making quick work of Nappa with his new Kaioken attack, it appears our hero will do just that. But when Vegeta steps into the fight, nothing is certain. Disgusted by Nappa's poor performance, he obliterates his now useless henchman in a ferocious display of power. Now, free of distraction, he has set his evil eye on Goku. Can Goku stand up to the might of the ruthless Saiyan Prince?
After the mighty Nappa, we get introduced to Vegeta. Vegeta's mission is not a mission like a land or like an action adventure mission, beat 'em up style mission. It's just a boss fight. So for this boss fight, you play as Goku after he got revived. And my main issue with this fight is if you're playing 2-player, you both don't get to fight the character at the same time, right? It would be interesting if they like maybe made the second character, like I don't know, Krillin or Gohan. Could have been someone, Yajirobe. Yajirobe's not even in the game. But Krillin and Gohan are coded as characters in the game, so they totally could have used them as second character. But instead, what they do for the main, like the big boss fights, is each of you guys got a turn playing Goku. So for like 15 seconds, player 1 gets to play as Goku fighting Vegeta, and then 20 seconds later, green arrow pops up, and then player 2's fighting him. This caused a lot of problems, especially for me and my brother, because my brother was 3 years older at the time, or 3 years younger at the time, and was significantly worse at video games. So whenever we got to these parts, I would get so mad. He would like immediately die and just use up all his senzu beans, and it's just like, the fuck. Doesn't help that at all as well that this game is a little jank when it comes to his mechanics. But yeah, in this one, he basically just spams a lot of explosions and Galagons. Best thing to do really is just fly above this explosion when it happens, if you can, and fly above the Galagons because they are slow. Make sure to pick up all the stuff that you can and make the best of this mission, but there's really nothing exciting about this mission, unfortunately, except for the end. At the end, when you get Vegeta near low HP, Goku starts doing the signature Spirit Bomb. However, if you notice, the signature Spirit Bomb is a lot bigger than it was in the Saiyan Saga originally. The size of the Spirit Bomb in the Saiyan Saga is like a ball, like a Spirit Ball. But this is like a Dragon Ball Z End of Buu Saga sized Spirit Bomb that's portrayed here in the gameplay. And I thought that was so funny because that just doesn't happen at all. And I just was wondering what they were thinking when they did this. My guess would be spectacle, or they just didn't actually know what happened. And they got the script in writing. And they just Googled what Spirit Bomb looked like, and they just did that. So I thought that was quite funny, and made no sense. Doesn't show Yajirobe cutting his tail. Doesn't show Krillin shooting the Spirit Ball, because it's not Goku at all. Doesn't show Vegeta going Ozaru at all. It's kind of interesting. Interesting in a TLDR way. So in this mission, you would think that you'd be playing as either Gohan or Krillin, but to my surprise, we get to play as Vegeta. So in this mission, we are tasked with making it to the end and finding the Ginyu Force. This mission is very nice, honestly. It's a beautiful depiction of Namek. All the trees are nice. All the homes are cool. I love the destructible homes, destructible trees. And I even noticed that in this mission that you could even set the trees on fire with your ki blast. And I think that's very, very cool. Part of this mission, the main mission that you have here as Vegeta, is to collect all the Dragon Balls, just like the anime. We find it's quite interesting because there's no depiction of Vegeta being bad here. It's from the get-go, he's starting to be good, and even there you see that he helps Dende, which is quite funny. Doesn't happen at all in the anime or the manga. He's actually what he should be doing right now is be killing Dodoria and Zarbon, but unfortunately that doesn't get depicted here. We collect all 7 Dragon Balls instead, and then we jump straight into Recoome.
Back on Earth, Goku recovers from his wounds and immediately races to help his friends on planet Namek. Meanwhile, Vegeta and the Z-Team have succeeded in bringing the 7 magic Dragon Balls together, but their plans to summon the Namekian dragon Porunga are cut short by the arrival of the Ginyu Force. The battle begins as Goldo, the weakest member of the Ginyu Force, steps into the fray. Through their combined efforts, Krillin, Gohan, and Vegeta manage to win the first bout, but the fight is far from over. An even more powerful Ginyu is waiting to take Goldo's place. Recoome.
The Recoome fight was nothing too special, but one thing I will say is that the Vegeta's animations feel fun, and I thought his were especially different. However, when I started to play the pendulum mode and trying the other characters, I realized that they actually all share the same animations through different combos. So if you unlock all the combos, technically any character can do any animation that any character has, right? So it's not, no animation is specific to any character, unfortunately, other than maybe like a special. But you'll notice even later that specials are reused between characters in terms of like their form, like how they're casting it. The color might be different between each one, and that's the only thing that separates them, right? This mission is quite easy. You just infinite combo your way through, and the mission's done. So the raccoon fight was nothing too special, but however, when I was a kid, well, when I didn't know about the infinite combo moves, I do remember this mission being quite annoying.
The fighting is fierce as Gohan, Krillin, and Vegeta struggle against the enormous raccoon. But in the end, none can stand against the Ginyu's ferocious power. Defeat seems certain for our heroes as Raccoon prepares to launch his finishing blow when a new hope suddenly arrives. Goku storms the battlefield and displays the strength he gained during his training at 100 times gravity by defeating Raccoon in an instant. Then, with his bag of sensu beans in tow, he sets about helping his fallen friends. This is a waste of time!
So we are going to start this next mission with Goku fighting Jace and Barter. This mission is probably one of my favorites just because it starts with a boss fight and then leads into the mission. Albeit this boss fight is absolutely awful and just honestly so terrible to play with one person. I do remember this being a lot more fun with 2 players. If you play this mission with 2 players, your second player is Vegeta, which I do believe is a better character and cooler character in my opinion. As you can see, they do seizure procedure multiple times, as much as they can. Actually, they spam this for the most annoying reason known to man. In this fight, it shows Jace as the boss, but when you get to him to a certain point, they will switch and Berter will join the fight as well. And then they'll switch back again one more time afterwards, and you finish Berter. After you finish Berter, the map opens up and Jace runs away. Jace is a little bitch, runs away, finds Captain Ginyu, so you gotta go chase after Jace and find Ginyu. There's some enemies around, but this mission is very small. There's actually 2 boss fights in this mission. So after you've cleared all these guys and make your way, collect all the collectibles, make your way to where Jace could have ran to, you encounter Captain Ginyu.
As the Z-Warriors clash against Frieza's army of evil henchmen, Jace returns with reinforcements. The leader and most powerful member of the Ginyu Force himself, Captain Ginyu. In order to defeat this deadly foe, the Z-Warriors will have to fight for their lives.
The Captain Ginyu fight is quite enjoyable. There's a couple moves that he does that are intuitive to dodge. Like when he goes underground, it makes sense to just start flying and try to dodge his uppercut. And there's some, reward feeling to it. However, this boss is not unlike any other and is susceptible to the infinite combo.
Goku isn't Goku. Vegeta arrives at Frieza's ship just in time to see Krillin and Gohan uncover the hidden Dragon Ball. At that same moment, Jace and Captain Ginyu return. In his newly acquired body, Captain Ginyu attempts to convince the Z-Warriors that he is Goku. But it doesn't take Gohan long to realize that things are not what they seem.
After this mission, we get to play as Vegeta versus Ginyu in Goku's body as a mission. And after this fight, this mission just ends. And I didn't really understand why, but I mean, I guess it just didn't really add anything. They could have done a bunch of missions like this with Doria and Zarbon, structured in the same exact way. And if they made a bunch of those, I think the game could have been a lot more enjoyable and known as like a boss rush game, a boss rush beat 'em up, right? But it really didn't. And this is one of few examples of a mission that just has one fight and then goes next. And it might as well not have even been there, like some fights that arguably could have been in the game but wasn't.
Vegeta destroys Jace and launches a powerful assault against Captain Ginyu, giving Goku the chance he needs to undo the body switch. Now desperate, Captain Ginyu attempts to use his body switching technique against Vegeta, but thanks to Goku's quick thinking, the once fearsome captain finds himself somewhat reduced in stature. Tyranny of Frieza. Frieza searches out Guru, the Namek Elder, and attempts to gain the secret password that will unlock the power of the Dragon Ball. But Guru's personal bodyguard, Nail, is determined to stop Frieza at any cost. As Frieza prepares to confront Nail's challenge, little does the tyrant realize Guru has already passed his knowledge on to Dende and sent the young Namek to rejoin the Z Warriors.
So after that mission, you go straight into playing as Vegeta again, and your mission is to defend Dende. There is no correlation to this in the actual anime, and Vegeta has no intention in the actual anime in protecting Dende whatsoever, actually. So this happening makes no sense. In the actual anime, Dende goes to the Earthlings with the password, while Frieza's with Nail here, and tells them the password to help them get is actually there to make those wishes for them. And if you've watched the anime, you know that Vegeta isn't a part of that because he's asleep, and Krillin doesn't tell him anything about Dende knowing about the Dragon Balls or Dende being there, right? It's all under his nose. So for you to play as Vegeta in here and not as Krillin, same thing with the third or the fourth mission where you play as Vegeta and you go up to Raccoon and you fight Raccoon. It just doesn't make sense, right? And they had Krillin in the game coded to play. It's just they decided not to. Maybe because they knew that players would rather play as Vegeta regardless of if it was correct or not. And I genuinely think they're right, unfortunately. I do believe that even myself, I would rather play as Vegeta in the Namek Saga than Krillin or Gohan. It's a better perspective, but if you're going to do that perspective, you have to do that perspective properly. You can't change the perspective and make him look like a hero the whole time, because that's just not what within his character doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So it kind of fails there. Basically, at the end of this mission, you are tasked to defend Dende, moving the Dragon Balls to a island over for whatever reason. And then that's it. As soon as he moves all the Dragon Balls over, you're greeted with a cutscene.
Gohan uses the Namekian Dragon Balls to wish Piccolo back to life, and with the return of Piccolo, the Earth's Dragon Balls also reappear. With Goku still recuperating from the battle with Captain Ginyu, Vegeta seizes the opportunity to make his own wish for immortality. But just as he prepares to voice his wish, on the other side of the planet, Elder Guru's life expires under the strain of Frieza's torment. With his passing, the Namekian Dragon Balls turn to stone. badly injured and filled with grief over his beloved master's demise, Nail is determined to have the last laugh. He informs Frieza that without Guru, the quest for the Dragon Balls is over. Furious, Frieza races back to his ship to find the Dragon Balls ruined and his dreams of immortality shattered. Frieza vows revenge and turns the full force of his wrath on the one most responsible for his failure, Vegeta.
Well, we're not over, actually. We fight Frieza, and Frieza is not even a boss fight. It is simply a time trial for you to wait for Piccolo to get from, it says Outworld, to you. But if I'm not mistaken, Piccolo gets wished to Namek. So them depicting that he's flying all the way from Otherworld doesn't make sense either. But that's fine. So this whole thing is just you fighting Frieza until the end of it. Until Piccolo shows up, and then you're greeted with another cutscene.
Wished back to life on the planet Namek, Piccolo uses the Namekian fusion technique to merge with the injured Nail. Their powers combined, incredible new strength surges through Piccolo's body, and he races to join the battle against Frieza. Meanwhile, Vegeta has only begun to realize Frieza's destructive potential as the evil tyrant undergoes the first of 3 powerful transformations. Little does Vegeta know, the worst is yet to come.
Frieza transforms to the second power. Again, still a time trial, so you just gotta wait for Piccolo to show up.
I think it's time to finish this.
Die, you little worm!
And as soon as Piccolo shows up, they don't even bother showing the third form. They go straight into last form. They don't show that Piccolo is stronger than him whatsoever. You don't get a fight with him, which could have been a perfect point, because in these fights where you fight as Vegeta, he technically loses, like in the anime, manga, like in any way. But you could have brought Piccolo in and could have made him one as the character, as the player, and then make him transform into 3, right? So like there could have been one extra mission there, for sure.
Piccolo makes a dramatic entrance onto the battlefield. His strength multiplied by the fusion with Nail, Piccolo seems to have the upper hand, at least until Frieza undergoes his second powerful transformation. The tide of battle quickly turns, and as Piccolo begins to falter, Gohan is forced to enter the fray. But even fighting with all his might, the young Saiyan proves to be only a minor annoyance to the evil Frieza as he transforms into his third and most powerful form. Super Saiyan Goku. His body finally healed, Goku returns to the battlefield in time to witness the horrific results of Frieza's murderous rampage. Dende and Vegeta have been killed. Piccolo lies near the brink of death, and when Krillin is destroyed right before his very eyes, Goku has seen enough. His rage explodes, and in a burst of power, he is transformed into a Super Saiyan. Faced with this new threat, Frieza launches an energy attack at the planet Namek itself. The blast penetrates the planet's core, triggering an unstoppable chain reaction that will ultimately cause the planet to explode. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Kami and Mr. Popo gather the Dragon Balls and use them to wish all of Frieza's victims back to life. Guru is revived, thus restoring the Namekian Dragon Balls to their original luster. The clock ticking, Dende quickly summons Porunga and wishes that everyone on the doomed planet Namek be transported to the safety of Earth. Everyone, that is, except Goku and Frieza. With his friends safely off the planet, Goku has chosen to stay behind, determined to put an end to Frieza's evil ways once and for all. But will his Super Saiyan strength
After this mission, we go straight into Super Saiyan Goku. Now, the Super Saiyan Goku mission is just a boss mission where you play as you spawn in as Super Saiyan Goku, and you're tasked to fight Frieza. However, Super Saiyan only has a limited amount of time. When you lose Super Saiyan, you are tasked to hitting the boss, which you will do, where you will do no damage to. In this mission, the only way you can do damage is by being Super Saiyan and hitting Frieza. So once you run out of Super Saiyan for whatever reason, you gotta spam your attack so you can fill up that bar so you can go Super Saiyan. This is probably one of the biggest issues with this game, is the fact that they completely ignore the damage that could have been done because you're not in a specific form, right? And then give you this juggling aspect of keeping the form up by hitting them, right? However, when you do become Super Saiyan, my lord, is it trivial. You just absolutely plow through their health bars. So, really, I can't say a whole lot when you go Super Saiyan and you're just instantly.
Frieza is defeated, but the victory comes at a high price as the planet Namek explodes in a fiery cloud. Back on Earth, fears run high that Goku did not escape the blast in time. The Z-Warriors mourn the loss of their friend, but they vow to use the Dragon Balls to wish him back. Goku on Yardrat. A full year has passed, and the power of the Dragon Balls has been restored. Fulfilling their promise, the Z-Warriors summon the dragon and wish Goku back to life. But they are shocked to learn that the dragon cannot grant this wish. Goku is still alive. Mere seconds before planet Namek exploded, Goku escaped in a Ginyu space pod, only to crash on a mysterious alien planet. For the last year, he has lived among the strange inhabitants of the planet Yardrat, studying and mastering their fighting techniques. And now, as he prepares to embark on the long and difficult journey home, he must put those skills to the test.
At the end of Frieza, normally you'd expect Mecha Frieza, right? However, this game does something a little different that most Dragon Ball games don't do, and they highlight Yardrat. They even give Yardrat a space. This is the first time I've ever seen Yardrat in any Dragon Ball game, and I'll be honest with you, I've played a lot of them. It's also the first time I've ever seen you ever fight a Yardrat. And even give you the power level, which is quite amazing. So, this mission is obviously just to highlight where Goku was. And yes, please, we need more of this. So what makes this so great is that they really had a lot of creativity to do whatever they wanted in this part. Obviously, they had depictions of what the Yardrats look like, right? But moves and all this stuff, like all this electric moves that he's doing, or the blue key moves that he's doing, is all something that they just kind of made up, right? And that's what kind of makes this mission so special, is that I've never seen this guy anywhere else. He's basically an exclusive to this game, right? And a lot of game developers need to understand this. When you make content for your game, it makes it more interesting within itself, right? The fact that it's just a boss fight is whatever, but at least you gave me something new. I know what I'm expecting with every Dragon Ball Z game, but if you're going to show me perspectives that I haven't seen before, then I'll absolutely enjoy it a little bit more, because that's what games are supposed to do. One thing that I do love in this mission as well is that you have the capability of going Super Saiyan, and absolutely demolishing the fight once you do. Again, love this mission for the fact that it is even depicted in the first place. And it doesn't do a whole lot, but it shows me where he is, where Goku is. And that's more than the anime ever did.
Future of Trunks. Months later, the Z Warriors are startled to sense a familiar presence on its way to Earth. Could this power be Goku finally returning home? Rushing to the scene, the Z Warriors are horrified to discover the source of this disturbance. Frieza and his father, King Cold. Frieza somehow managed to survive the destruction of Namek, and now he and his father have come to Earth in search of revenge. But before they can enact their twisted plan, they are confronted by a mysterious youth. In a bold display of Super Saiyan power, this brash young warrior easily dispatches the evil father-son duo. But who could he be? He is Trunks, future son of Bulma and Vegeta, and he has traveled through time to give the Z Warriors a dire warning. In 3 short years, a pair of evil, seemingly unstoppable androids, created by the insane Dr. Gero, will carve a path of destruction across the Earth. None who cross this path survive. A painful lesson Trunks has been forced to learn time and again. The world of Trunks' future is a world of fear, a world forced to live under the dark shadows of the cold-blooded androids. Few heroes are left to combat the threat. Goku succumbed to a deadly heart virus prior to the androids' arrival. Without their greatest fighter to aid their struggle, the remaining Z Warriors, Piccolo, Vegeta, Yamcha, Tien, Krillin, all fell before the android's awesome power. Only Gohan remained, and it is he who has begun teaching Trunks to harness his Super Saiyan powers. Together, the two hope they might still have a chance to defeat the androids and return peace to the Earth.
So, the start of this mission requires you to find the hidden antidote for Goku and clear the prototype androids from the section of the city. Now, obviously, you guys know that there was no kind of like pawns, like Cybermen for the androids. So they kind of made these skeleton androids. And they look very similar, not very, but they kind of give you an homage to the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot androids that you can come across with the big skeleton heads that just fly around. But these ones have like humanoid bodies and look more like Ultron, which I thought was quite funny. And we have to go find Android 17. So this is, to give you context, before he goes back in time. So he's going to get the antidote right now. And in this mission, you actually, if you're playing 2-player, you get to play alongside Gohan in this. And then Gohan has 2 hands in this one because it's before the fight. At the end of this mission specifically, happens that fight where he loses his arm will happen, right? So we'll go through this whole mission. This mission's pretty nice, honestly. It's one of the bigger missions. And you can tell that this mission and level had a lot of time and effort put into it. I do like the fact that a lot of the specials and a lot of the collectibles you can find by blowing up either buildings or cars to find those collectibles. Other than that, there's not really a whole lot special going on here. I do love this, the scale of this mission. It does feel really big, especially with just how many buildings there are around you, and just like the perspective of the game just makes you feel like you're in a city, which I can really appreciate. And then the mission ends with you fighting 17, right? And again, with any boss, we infinite combo this guy to death, and it's GG, right?
After Gohan suffers a near-fatal defeat by the androids, Trunks rushes his injured master back to his mother's underground home. Though his body is shattered and one of his arms lost, Bulma is slowly but surely able to nurse him back to health. last hope. Once recovered, Gohan resumes his training of Trunks, and for a time, the two were able to work in relative peace. But when the androids launch a sudden attack on a nearby city, the time for training is over, and the time for action has come.
In the next mission, we have to find 6 time machine turbines and battle 17 and 18. So it's just another Future Android Saga mission where we gotta find parts for the time machine to go back in time. I'm not sure why it was kind of designed like this. Unfortunately, it is. They probably could have designed this in a way where it just was one mission. But they probably needed a way to pad out this game, and especially because I think they lack a lot of creativity in the later missions to really do anything. So we're stuck with doing basically the same mission, find whatever, like an amount of whatever, and then get to the end and maybe fight a boss, right? So that's what we do. We collect as much as we can in this mission, and we go to the end to fight 17 and 18. You also get introduced to those big android enemies in this mission, and they're very similar to the blue Cybermens that you get introduced to in the second mission while you're playing as Gohan. And they're not too bad, honestly, as long as you're able to land a couple of spells on them, or a couple of specials on them, and they just go down in 1 or 2 burning attacks. This mission ends up being really long for some reason. I don't remember it ever being this long, but it gives me a good chance to finally upgrade some things that I needed. Get a combo breaker. I also experienced this weird glitch where I just stood still for a while after teleporting, and that happens sometimes. And I'm lucky that it only happened once in my whole playthrough and at this fucking part. But it was quite annoying, and this is kind of the part where I started to really use the teleport function more and more. Because I've kind of figured it out, and I was like, oh yeah, this is very strong, so I should use it more. And then, one of the strongest things that I could be using ends up glitching as well. Another weird, funny glitch that you'll see as well is whenever someone does a special move, like an enemy, they will sometimes just go invisible. And you'll see this with Android 18 here. She just starts slinging attacks for no reason, or not no reason, but like slinging attacks with no one there. And then she just kind of pops up, and it's just kind of funny. It happens sometimes, but again, I'm lucky enough that it only happened once, and both in these, like this specific mission, right? So I got kind of lucky.
Go back to the past and help Goku!
This is the dark world Trunks left behind, and this is a future he now hopes to prevent. The androids. Having recounted his troubled tale, Trunks presents Goku with a vial containing an antidote to the heart virus he is one day doomed to suffer. If Goku can only survive the virus, thousands of people may be spared a future of death and terror at the hands of the androids. Trunks takes his leave, but promises to meet them all again at the precise time and place of the androids' first appearance. The Z Warriors take these words to heart, and for the next 3 years, they train with all their might, until at last, the time comes to meet the android threat.
In the next mission, you play as Goku, and you are tasked with finding the androids. If you play this mission with a second player, you play this with Piccolo, and it just feels like the very first mission, honestly. A lot of it is just, get through it. The mission is defend the Capsule Corp buildings, but I've never actually failed this mission. I've just kind of killed the guys, and the buildings have never actually been destroyed. But try your best not to let these guys destroy the Capsule Corp buildings that are scattered around the world. And basically that's it. The one nice thing that's also nice in this mission is that you are able to go Super Saiyan as Goku, which makes the first player better in this situation because you play as Piccolo and you can't really do anything special as Piccolo at this point. You can later, but that again is later. So this mission is quite trivial with Super Saiyan, but I will have to say, one thing I will completely give them their flowers for is that they made Super Saiyan feel very strong, right? When you turn Super Saiyan, essentially any mob could almost get 1 or 2 shot from just a single 1-2 punch. But to get Super Saiyan, it is very, very hard. So it does make sense. Like the payoff does work out for you in your favor, even with its limited use. So I will say it does a good job. In fact, that it, with its limited use, it at least feels strong for something, right?
At long last, the Z Warriors have come face to face with the sinister foes of Trunks' prediction. Android 19 and Android 20 have arrived. And little do our heroes realize, Android 20 is none other than the mad scientist Dr. Gero himself. Though Gero started out human, numerous robotic enhancements have given him all the powers of his android creation, as he demonstrates by leveling a section of the city. Feeling too many innocent bystanders would be caught in the crossfire, Goku decides to lead the fight away from the city.
You don't have a chance.
Super Saiyan Vegeta. The battle begins, and the androids are clearly unprepared for Goku in his Super Saiyan form. Goku's victory seems certain, until the mighty warrior suddenly begins clutching his heart in pain. Could this be the deadly heart virus of Trunks' warning? With Goku's advantage waning, Android 19 prepares to pounce, when another Saiyan steps in to finish the fight. It's Vegeta, ready to show the world that he too has become a Super Saiyan.
Come, Android.
In the next mission, you play as Super Saiyan Vegeta, right? And Super Saiyan Vegeta has the same mechanic as all the other Super Saiyans. You got to beat them up until you get to the point as Super Saiyan, and then you charge, repeat all the way up, and you get to go Super Saiyan, right? You spawn in a Super Saiyan at the start of this fight, so if you just start laying in on 19, you just can insta-kill him. I do not think that this boss takes no damage from like being non-Super Saiyan, so you don't have to worry. Only Frieza and the last fight requires you to be in the Super Saiyan state to do damage. After you beat Android 19, you get a cutscene and you get spawned right back into where you were, which is quite nice. There's not a whole new mission for the next area. You start playing where you fought Android 19 from. And that's a really, really cool design choice. This mission is probably one of my favorites just because it feels like the episode from the anime. I feel like I'm chasing after Android 9 or Android 20 here after he escapes, and it feels like I'm trying to find him.
Dr. Gero escapes to his secret lab one step ahead of the pursuing Z-Warriors and hastily activates two more of his diabolical creations, Androids 17 and 18. But the Doctor's haste proves to be his undoing. Refusing to submit to his control, the androids turn on their creator. The Z-Warriors blast through the doors just in time to witness the Doctor's demise. And Trunks realizes that these new androids are the ones responsible for the destruction of his future world. Despite Trunks' best efforts to stop them, 17 and 18 manage to activate yet another android, number 16, a killing machine designed for the sole purpose of destroying Goku. Recognizing the threat, Trunks calls for a retreat, but Vegeta's pride will not let him back down. The Saiyan Prince launches into battle.
A bag of bones.
In this next mission, we are tasked to fighting Android 18 as Vegeta. In this fight, Vegeta does damage without having to be in Super Saiyan. However, if you've watched the anime just like me, you know Vegeta does not win this fight. Vegeta, in fact, gets his ass kicked. So, you winning this fight, unfortunately, makes no sense.
Having been easily defeated by the androids, the Z-Warriors split up in search of new ways to increase their strength. Meanwhile, the androids set out in search of Goku. Should they find him, Goku will be unable to defend himself until the antidote can take effect and eliminate the heart virus that holds him in its deadly grip. The situation desperate, Piccolo travels to Kami's lookout in the hopes of fusing with the aged Namek. Long ago, Kami purged the evil from his heart, thus splitting himself into two equal halves, Kami and Piccolo. If these two halves were to become whole once again, the result would be a Namek of incredible power. Kami realizes that this fusion may be the only way to combat the android, but he is hesitant to agree, for he senses a new evil roaming the earth, a creature far more terrifying than the androids.
This game also skips over a whole plot line where Piccolo and Cell should meet and jumps straight into this the Piccolo versus Android 18 fight, which gives no context to how Cell found Android 18, because Cell was able to track Piccolo's energy during this fight after his encounter with Piccolo, fighting with Android 18. But you don't even get a fight with first version Cell at all in this game, actually. The only encounters you have with Cell in this game are in his second form and his third form. In the Piccolo vs. Android 17 fight, you have to dodge or be careful for the meteors that are flying from the volcano in the background, volcano erupting in the background. But other than that, the fight is pretty trivial and you just fight.
As the battle between Piccolo and Android 17 rages on, the evil force Kami warned of rears its ugly head. The Time Chamber. The monster Cell, Dr. Gero's ultimate creation, has but a single goal. Only through the absorption of Androids 17 and 18 can Cell become complete and achieve his perfect form. And now, the monster is one step closer to achieving that goal. He sweeps Piccolo aside and attacks Android 17. Unable to resist, the android is absorbed, and Cell's body begins its shocking transformation. Before Cell can set his sights on Android 18 and complete his transformation, Tien burst onto the scene. summoning every ounce of his strength, he holds the monster at bay with his powerful tri-beam technique, giving Android 18 a chance to escape. Meanwhile, Trunks and Vegeta are hard at work within the hyperbolic time chamber, a special room in Kami's lookout in which a fighter can gain a year's worth of training in just one day.
The next mission requires you to play as Trunks against Vegeta in the hyperbolic time chamber. And this is basically just a practice area. It'll give you a bunch of combos that you have unlocked through the Z shop to perform to get stars, and the first one to obtain 8 stars is the first one to move on, or like you finish the mission. There's nothing really a whole lot to say about this mission. This mission was just kind of there to pad time out clearly. However, this part really does show me that there was kind of supposed to be some sort of player versus player option in this game, and even with the friendly fire option, it goes to show that the idea was for you to fight another person, right? And the funnest part about these missions when you're doing them in 2-player is that you're fighting the second player, right? So you and your second player are fighting against each other to get these points. And I thought that was very, very enjoyable, especially for myself when I was a kid, fighting against my little brother. I thought this was very, very enjoyable. However, outside of 2-player, there's not really much enjoyment to get out of these missions whatsoever. And sometimes it's a little frustrating if you don't have combo breaker yet. If you don't have combo breaker, then you're just subject to getting the combo hit on you, and you can't do anything about it.
Holds out against Cell for as long as he can, but at last, his strength fails him. But before Cell can reciprocate in kind, Goku suddenly appears on the scene. Using his instant transmission technique, he transports Tien and Piccolo back to the lookout for a quick recovery. At the same time, their year's worth of training completed, Trunks and Vegeta emerge from the hyperbolic time chamber, more powerful than ever. Imperfect Cell. Cell's frustration grows as his search for Android 18 proves fruitless. He has traced the android to a chain of deserted islands. He begins destroying the islands one by one in an attempt to flush her from hiding. But before he can close in on his target, Vegeta and Trunks arrive on the scene, eager to put their training in the hyperbolic time chamber to the test.
We are tasked as Vegeta and Trunks, if you're playing 2-player, to find second imperfect Cell, second form Cell, right?
Fool! You don't even have a chance!
Now, this mission does a really great job with its scenery. It makes me feel like I'm on the archipelagos that Cell was on to find Android 18. And I think that is quite amazing within itself. So this mission starts off, firstly, you're fighting off Imperfect Cell. About halfway of you fighting him and getting him down to maybe like quarter to half HP, flies away. And as soon as he flies away, you gotta go through the whole mission. One thing that I thought was very, very silly in this game was that they reused the Cybermen instead of the androids in this mission. Now, I know Dr. Gero is dead. However, the Cybermen just make even less sense here. Why would they put this in here? It doesn't make sense. It just kind of seems like they didn't know what to do, and they were tired of seeing the androids for some reason. I was too, so I'm not gonna blame them. About halfway through the mission, you find Cell and you fight him on an island, and you beat his ass, and he flies away again for you to go find him again. After the end, you finally find him, and
As the battle continues, Cell soon realizes he is outmatched by the father-son Super Saiyan duo. But in a crafty move, he temporarily blinds Trunks and Vegeta, then swoops down to absorb Android 18. His goal finally realized, the monster undergoes his final transformation and becomes Perfect Cell.
once he turns perfect, you have a little spat with him, and this fight is very long. Unfortunately, has a lot of HP, but again, nothing trivial to this. If you can just get an infinite combo going, you'll be able to be fine. Especially with Super Saiyan on hand, you just start deleting his health bar, right?
Trunks and Vegeta resume the battle, but they are powerless to defeat Perfect Cell. Clearly amused by their efforts, Cell allows them to live. He challenges them, along with all of the Earth's most powerful fighters, to take part in a martial arts tournament. Super Saiyan Gohan. Goku and
the hyperbolic time chamber mission with Gohan and Goku, it is the exact same mission as the mission with Trunks and Vegeta. Nothing different here other than the hyperbolic time chamber is depicted as being on fire, like it was in the manga, right? Or sorry, like in the anime, where it just felt so hot. Which I thought was a really cool way of making it different, but at the end of the day, it wasn't, right? Like, it's all the same. It's just a recolor on the hyperbolic time chamber. Instead of being white, it's red now. So, other than that, not much of a mission to really talk about, right? Like, it's just a practice mission.
Goku and Gohan emerge from the hyperbolic time chamber and decide to use the remaining time before the Cell games for a little rest and relaxation. At last, the day arrives, and the Earth's strongest warriors converge on the Cell Games arena. Goku is the first to challenge the monster, and after an impressive display of fighting prowess, he surprises everyone by forfeiting the match. Goku bows out, conceding that he is not strong enough to defeat Cell, but he offers up an even stronger fighter to take his place, Gohan. Goku believes that if Gohan's anger is provoked, he will release his true hidden potential and defeat Cell. Cell is eager for the challenge. In an attempt to fuel Gohan's rage, he releases an army of Cell Juniors and orders them to attack the rest of the Z Warriors.
Leading on from that mission, we jump straight into the Cell games. And the first mission that we start off at the Cell games is with the Cell Juniors. We don't even get a Goku versus Cell fight in this game. One of the best fights I would argue, and they could have probably at least been enjoyed in this game via boss fight, was completely skipped through. And we go straight to the Cell Juniors. In this fight, we are expected to knock out the Cell Juniors all at the same time. They have a stun time when they get knocked out of about 5 seconds. So I have to beat all of them within about 5 seconds within each other. And then that's not as hard as you think it might be when you just spam Kamehamehas when they're low HP. They just end up all falling over and you end up being okay.
The Z-Warriors struggle to survive the vicious attacks of the Cell Juniors. Android 16 attempts to subdue Cell in a desperate move to end the violence. The monster Cell, however, is not easily subdued, and with a single devastating blow, he reduces Android 16 to scrap metal. Upon witnessing the peace-loving android's untimely demise, Gohan's rage is at last ignited, much to Cell's delight. The final showdown. After witnessing the destruction of Android 16, Gohan's rage ignites, and in an explosion of raw power, he ascends to a new height of Super Saiyan strength. In this anger-fueled state, Gohan obliterates the army of Cell Juniors, then sets his sights on their cruel master, Perfect Cell.
Now, after that fight, we fight Perfect Cell. This is the last fight and the last mission of the game, unfortunately. Now, the way this fight works is you play as Gohan, of course, and you spawn in as Super Saiyan 1. You are tasked to hit Cell as much as you can to get to Super Saiyan 2. And then you're supposed to transform into Super Saiyan 2, and then you'll be able to finally do damage to him. Otherwise, you won't be able to do any damage.
Gohan bombards Cell with a series of punishing blows. His final punch so powerful that it causes the monster to spit out the absorbed Android 18. No longer complete, Cell's body returns to its previous state, and with the resulting loss of power, his defeat seems certain. Rather than be defeated by a child, Cell chooses to blow himself up, and the Earth along with him. With mere seconds left to act before the fiery explosion, Goku transports himself and Cell to King Kai's planet, once again sacrificing his life to save his friends. The battle with Cell is not yet over, however. A single cell of the monster's body survives the blast, from which he is able to regenerate, once again attaining his perfect form. Cell returns to Earth to finish the battle with Gohan, locked in the final showdown.
Gohan, you've got to use the Kamehameha to defeat Perfect Cell.
Gohan summons the last of his strength, and with a helpful push from his father in Otherworld, his Kamehameha wave overwhelms Cell. When the smoke clears, Perfect Cell is no more, and a new era of peace on Earth has begun.
Now, that may seem a little anticlimactic from my end, and that's because it really is. I remember playing this game and being really, really excited to move forward and play into the Buu saga, but this game unfortunately lets you down in the fact that it ends there, and there's no sense of ending, really. I mean, there is in the Cell Saga within itself, right? And that's how Akira Toriyama originally wrote it, because he thought that was going to be the end. But at the time when this was created, we've already been past that point. We've already got the Boo Saga. We even already had GT up to this point. So it really does feel anticlimactic for a game to have released after Budokai 1, 2, and 3 to only end at the Cell Saga. It makes you think, why did this game only get so much development? And I mean, did it do anything good? For sure. The one thing that I believe that it's done well in, and I've been showing it to you throughout this video, is the soundtrack. The soundtrack in this game is faithful to North American Dragon Ball Z. The people who were making the music for this game knew what they were doing, and they put all their heart and effort into that part alone. If you made it to the end of the video, I just wanted to say thank you. This is the first video I've ever really tried to put a lot of effort into, and any support would be appreciated. I believe my next video is going to be on Dragon Ball Infinite World, and the fact that it was not as popular as the Budokai series, but in my opinion, it's far better. But we'll see. Until next time.